Dairy products are made from the milk of mammals, particularly cows, but also goats, sheep, and buffalo. These products contain critical nutrients like calcium, protein, vitamin D, and B vitamins. Milk, cheese, yogurt, and butter are among the most common dairy products. However, there are worries about lactose intolerance, saturated fat levels, and ethical implications in dairy farming. Soy, almond, and coconut milk are popular plant-based alternatives to traditional dairy products. Overall, dairy is a substantial component of many diets globally, but consumption patterns are influenced by dietary preferences and health considerations. Now that you know what dairy is, let's look at the issues regarding its decline. Interest in alternative protein sources to substitute for animal-source protein-rich foods from farmed animals has emerged alongside calls for sustainable food systems. As the global population grows towards a projected 9.8 billion people by 2050, sustainable diet recommendations underscore overconsumption of animal source foods and encourage consumption of a diversity of nutrient-dense plant-based foods. Private companies, most often headquartered in the United States, are capitalizing on growing interest in sustainability and have accelerated investments in new alternatives to animal source foods over the past few years, reaching a high of $5 billion USD in 2021. The emergence of new plant-based foods that mimic animal source foods has expanded the plant-based foods category with unclear nutrition, health, and environmental implications as consumption becomes more common. Now that we have a brief overview about the subject, it is important to discuss the comparison between dairy and plant-based products, the factors driving the decline in milk consumption, government policies, and farmers' plight. What is the comparison between dairy and plant-based products? Nutritional content. Dairy milk is rich in calcium, vitamin D, and protein. It contains lactose, a type of sugar found in milk which can be difficult for some individuals to digest, particularly those with lactose intolerance. Whole milk contains saturated fats, which, when consumed in excess, can contribute to cardiovascular issues. Plant-based milk options vary widely in their nutritional content depending on the source. Soy milk is one of the most comparable alternatives to dairy milk, offering similar protein content and often fortified with calcium and vitamin D. Almond milk tends to be lower in calories but also lower in protein compared to dairy milk. However, it can be fortified with additional nutrients. Coconut milk is high in saturated fats but may be lower in calories compared to dairy milk. Oat milk is becoming increasingly popular and can be fortified with vitamins and minerals, though it may be higher in carbohydrates. Environmental impact. Dairy production is associated with significant greenhouse gas emissions, primarily due to methane produced by cows. Large-scale dairy farming can contribute to deforestation, water pollution, and soil degradation. The production of dairy milk requires extensive land use for grazing and growing feed crops, contributing to habitat loss and biodiversity decline. Plant-based milk generally has a lower environmental footprint compared to dairy milk. Almond milk production requires significant water usage, leading to concerns about water scarcity in regions where almonds are grown. Soy milk production has been linked to deforestation in some regions, particularly in South America, where soybeans are extensively cultivated. Oat milk and pea milk tend to have a lower environmental impact compared to almond and soy milk, as oats and peas require less water and land for cultivation. Taste and texture. Dairy milk has a creamy texture and a distinct flavor that many people enjoy. It is often used in cooking and baking due to its ability to add richness and moisture to recipes. Plant-based milk options vary in taste and texture, with some closely resembling dairy milk while others have a distinct flavor. For example, soy milk has a creamy texture and a slightly nutty flavor. Almond milk has a mild nutty taste and a thinner consistency compared to dairy milk. Oat milk has a naturally sweet flavor and a creamy texture, making it a popular choice for coffee and cereal. Coconut milk has a rich tropical flavor and a thicker consistency compared to other plant-based milk options. The primary reason for dairy's decline is a changing preference among consumers for non-dairy beverages, driven by both health concerns and concerns about the environmental impact of the dairy industry. As a result, people are switching to milk-like beverages made from plants or to beverages that don't resemble milk at all. What are the factors driving decline in milk consumption? According to recent data, milk consumption in the US has hit an all-time low. Shifting dietary preferences, health concerns, and environmental consciousness are all contributing to this trend. One major reason for this decline is the increasing popularity of non-dairy alternatives. From almond to oat, coconut to soy, plant-based milk substitutes are gaining traction. So, how are these plant-based alternatives impacting the dairy industry? Despite dairy milk still dominating the market, plant-based alternatives are carving out a significant share. Consumers, particularly Gen Z, are drawn to these alternatives for their perceived health and environmental benefits. Additionally, other non-milk beverages like specialty coffee drinks and sports drinks are also contributing to the decline in milk consumption. Many Americans are abandoning cow's milk in favor of plant-based milk substitutes such as almond, oat, coconut, rice, flax, hemp, and soy. Since 2018, dollar-based sales of these alternatives have surged by 48% increase, albeit slumping slightly in the past year. Although most consumers still prefer dairy milk, whose sales hit $15.8 billion in 2023 compared to $2.5 billion for plant-based milk, substitutes have taken hold of the American psyche due to their perceived health benefits and eco-friendliness. In the midst of growing awareness around the environmental impact of animal products, many consumers have abandoned cow's milk for plant-based alternatives. But plant-based alternatives are not a nutritional substitute for dairy, which continues to make up a large part of the American diet. Dairy production, which has a reputation for being resource-intensive, has the potential to be more efficient and environmentally sustainable, especially when it incorporates pasture-based dairy and meat production. But the reality is that today, large industrial farms pollute more and emit more greenhouse gases as compared to smaller family-run operations because of the way that they operate and process their waste. In fact, between 1997 and 2017, the shift to larger operations led to twice the emissions of methane, a potent greenhouse gas, even while the number of cows in the US remained static. Dr. Walter Willett, a professor of epidemiology and nutrition at Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health in Boston, stated there are milk alternatives that are good options for people aiming to reduce their calorie intake. Some are quite low in calories and considerably lower than low-fat milk. So if someone is looking for a white beverage that is low in calories, that may be a reason to look for a milk alternative. He also stated that for those concerned about climate change, the milk alternatives will be a better option, and in the long run, we can't have human health without planetary health. So what are government policies and farmers' plight? It's not just consumer preferences driving this decline. Government policies also play a role. Policies like the Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act have impacted milk consumption in schools, leading to what Gen Zers call milk shame. Dairy farmers argue that such regulations tarnish the image of whole milk, further exacerbating their challenges. The year 2023 proved to be a challenging period for dairy farmers across the nation, marked by a substantial market decline from the high prices of the previous year. High feed costs further added to the difficulties, leading to margins reaching their lowest point since 2009. Policy for the last decade has focused on boosting dairy production and on export markets, resulting in massive oversupply, so much so that farmers are sometimes forced to dump their milk when they can't find processing plants with the capacity to take it, as is the case for Midwestern dairy farmers. But amidst these challenges, there's hope on the horizon. Export projections for dairy products are promising, and the milk price cycle is expected to turn upward in 2024. In addition, industry stakeholders are advocating for changes, from food labeling to comprehensive policy reforms, aimed at revitalizing the dairy sector and supporting small-scale farmers. USDA could incentivize farmers to transition to organic production and support the growing demand for an organic market, where farmers can earn a higher price for their milk and reduce their environmental impact. The dairy industry desperately needs better supply management policy and structure. There's a need for the establishment of a price floor, as well as guardrails against market volatility and import restrictions, as well as quotas for the amount of milk marketed. We need to restore mandatory country of origin labeling and extend it to dairy so consumers can make informed purchasing choices and U.S. farmers can compete fairly in the grocery store. Congress should stop future mergers among large agribusinesses, enforce and strengthen existing antitrust legislation, and prevent the future building and expansion of factory farmers. The dairy industry, hoping to counter competition, is pushing for food label changes, arguing that if a beverage doesn't originate from a lactating animal, it shouldn't be called milk. The Food and Drug Administration has proposed allowing plant-based drinks to keep the milk label, but also to add labeling that highlights their nutritional differences from cow's milk, an idea that's incited anger from both the dairy and non-dairy sectors. In the meantime, dairy farm advocates have called for comprehensive policy changes to save America's dwindling farms, including curbing large agribusinesses' influence and promoting transitions to organic production. The group further argues that the proposed Milk from Family Dairies Act will ensure fair prices for dairy farmers, while also protecting consumer costs, revitalizing rural areas, and saving taxpayer money. And that's a wrap for today's video. Thank you for joining us as we explore the decline in milk consumption and its implications. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Until next time, take care and stay curious.